What's up, everyone? It is good to see you. It is a new year. It's 2026, if you didn't know. Welcome to the future. We're going to go live everywhere today. YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram. Hello to all of you coming in on Instagram right now. If you could, let me see. I should have the comments here on Instagram in a second. Welcome. We are so excited to have you here today. I am so excited to have you here today. We've got David in the background helping with the tech of streaming to all these different platforms at the same time. If the quality coming through anywhere is a bit funny, it's because we're streaming everywhere at the same time. Today's going to be fun. I'm going to answer some questions as we get into the new year. I want to take a temperature of how you're feeling going into this year. I know that sometimes a new year can be a strange time. On one hand, it brings all of this freshness and a clean slate, or so it feels, and the possibility of a new year, the joy of leaving behind the old year, especially if last year didn't go to plan. And it can also be a kind of strange time because, you know, we bring our stuff with us. It's not like we ever really get a clean slate. We go into the new year and we still have our rumination. We still have our intrusive thoughts. We still have the same insecurities. We still have worries for the future. The hope that this year will be different, but the uncertainty that maybe it won't be different. So the new year can be a strange time. And I want to hear from you about what your mood is going into this year. You know, we're on January the 6th. We're pretty much at the very beginning of the year. So let me know how you're doing and start asking your questions, because I am going to be answering them. David is going to be fielding a bunch from different platforms and feeding them to me. I obviously won't have seen these questions before, so I'll be answering them live. If you're on Instagram or Facebook, comment 2026 because we have a really, really fun treat going on this month that I'll tell you about. So more on that to come. But let's just talk for a moment, shall we? Let's see here. So on Instagram, what's going on? Mia Jana, Lash, what's happening? You're feeling calm and grounded. I've got Chris coming in from Romania. What's up? We got Audrey Hussey here on Instagram. What a special treat. Audrey is with our newborn baby boy right now watching this. So, you know, he's hearing the sound of my voice. Hello to all of you. We've got people coming in right now on TikTok. Let's see what's happening on YouTube as well. Let's see. Yes, is there any way, David, of making the comments a bit bigger on YouTube?
Yeah.
Let's see if we can do that.
On this guy?
Yeah, that'd be great. Nachi from Japan says, congrats on your baby. Thank you so, so much. Someone says, can you grow at 51? I believe so. I wouldn't do what I do if I didn't think that we could grow at any age. No, but I will say, I think that when we decide to adapt and evolve in our 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, those to me are the most inspiring people, is when people evolve after a lifetime of doing things the same way, being in certain patterns. When people evolve at that time, I think that's a beautiful thing. I think that's a miracle. And I think it's one of the reasons why when we see our parents or our elders change and evolve, it is so inspiring to us, because we instinctively know that that took more than it changing something at 21. All right, lovely. Let's get started on some questions. So David, whenever you see anything in the questions,
Put one in the private chat.
you put one in the private chat. And I have a very special message today as well. So hold tight wherever you are in the world listening to this right now. We'll do a couple of questions and then we're going to jump in to some thoughts I have for today that are very, very important today and very timely. So we have one from Matt Zip Boston who says, I have a situation that we both seem to be progressing slowly, but I am an overthinker. Any suggestions on what to do to shut it down? This person has expressed not going anywhere, but why am I nervous? Look, I think you wouldn't be asking this question if you didn't like this person. If you didn't think that there was something about this person, something, special, or something special in your connection, you wouldn't even really be asking this question. You obviously like them. Now, what we don't know at this point is whether how much you like them is to do with their initial impact or whether it's to do with their deeper character. And we certainly don't know if you like the partner that they are yet because you've never experienced them as a partner. And I think that that's a very important framing, that when I say I like someone right now, which is what's making the stakes feel so high, that's what's making you nervous, is you've made a decision internally, I like this person. If you hadn't made that decision internally that this person was somehow special or, important or a catch, you wouldn't be having these nerves. You wouldn't be having this nervousness or anxiety. So then you have to ask, okay, this decision I've made to like them has to be rooted in the present. And the only thing I can say this early on is that I like their company. I find them to be impressive in certain ways. I get excited by them. They've had a great impact on me. But I don't necessarily know everything there is to know about their deeper character. I couldn't know everything there is to know about their deeper character yet. That's going to take longer. Character is measured over time. It's not measured in a single moment because character is consistent, and consistency can only be seen over time. So right now, you're probably measuring this person's impact more than their long-term character. Now, even if you have got a really good sense of their character, you still don't know who they would be in a relationship. That is something you can only know by being in a relationship with them. There are plenty of people who fall in love and then get into a relationship with someone and realize they're not a great person to have a relationship with. There are tons of problems. There are tons of incompatibilities. Understanding this is not negative. What it does is it allows you to introduce rationality and reason to this stage of dating, which is so fraught by the opposite, by irrationality, by the overwhelming feelings of emotions and chemicals running through your body. This is a way of bringing yourself back down to earth, simultaneously allowing yourself to like someone, but also recognizing that there are many, many tests that this connection has to pass through in order to become something that is worthy of a lifetime. And you don't know that yet. So if you lost her at this stage, I think this is from Matt, so I'm guessing it is, but correct me if I'm wrong. If you lost her at this stage, it might be sad, but you haven't lost the love of your life, okay? And if you haven't lost the love of your life, then it's not tragic. So you don't have to be as afraid as you are. You can let it be slow and tell yourself, instead of going, I hope I keep her, say, I'll be very interested to see if this can pass the various tests it needs to pass for this to become something that's worthy of a lifetime. Very good. Keep commenting. If you're on Instagram or Facebook, keep commenting 2026. And if you're anywhere else, you can go here. What's the link? Is it MH Year of Love?
MH New Year.
Or MH New Year, mhnewyear.com. The link is above me right there, mhnewyear.com. And if you're on Instagram or Facebook, you can literally just comment 2026. I'm going to be answering more questions today, but let me just tell you something. That's a very important New Year's message I've been meaning to tell you guys. I've been excited to share this with you because I think it's going to bring a lot of relief to a lot of people. So many of us are so tired of dating today. We are sick of what modern dating seems to mean. We are sick of dating apps. We are sick of online conversations that never lead anywhere. We are sick and tired of people who we can't even get on a date with, let alone like some people say to me, Matt, you talk about like what to do on a date or what to do in the early stages of dating someone. I can't even get on a date. Like that's my issue. I can't even seem to get someone to commit to a date, let alone a real relationship. There are other people who are like, I keep dating people and it never seems to turn into anything. They want to give the minimum possible investment. I call them MPI people, minimum possible investment people, but they want the maximum return. They want all of me, but they're willing to give so little. They're willing to commit so little. There are so many different ways that people struggle in dating today, and it makes people miserable. It makes them burnt out, exhausted. Hands up if you feel this. If, KV Dar says, so tired of it. Who else? Who else is having the exact same experience I'm talking about, where you're just like, I'm just over dating. I'm so tired of this whole experience. Reese says, it's so draining. Raynell says, me, I'm done. Nat says, me. So it's, Wilma says, I can't even find a boyfriend. Well, you're in good company, because many people feel the exact same way as you, Raynell. I came into this year feeling like I wanted to engage in a fresh kind of mindset with everybody and invite you to do the same. I don't know about you, and I'm not even just talking about dating now. I don't know about you, but I got to the end of last year and I was thinking about the year ahead, like so many of us do. I was taking stock of 2025 and I was thinking about 2026 and what will it take for me to create more of the life that I'm content with and happy with and feel peaceful in 2026? What will it take for me to have more in 2026, for me to realize certain ambitions, for me to create more opportunities? What does that look like? And I had to have an honest moment with myself about 2025. And me and Audrey both did this. We both sat down. For those of you that don't know me, Audrey is my wife. We both sat down and we said, we were a little negative in some ways last year. Like the negative voice and not just internally, but negative chatter out loud kind of seeped into the way we talked a bit too much. I don't know if that vibes with any of you, if any of you feel the same way, but I found myself last year, there was some ways that last year, for me personally, I'm speaking personally now, felt hard. And don't get me wrong, I had some amazing times last year. And honestly, I had the greatest month of my life when my son was born, and it's been extraordinary. But I also felt like in certain areas of my life, it felt a bit like trudging uphill last year. It felt like it was quite hard. And I had this experience of feeling like, God, nothing came easy. I don't know if any of you feel the same way, but it kind of felt to me like nothing felt like skiing downhill. It all, like, so much felt hard and like playing on hard mode. And because of that, I think we felt a bit worn down. And let me know, I want to read the comments and see if any of you relate to this. Christine says, worst year of my life, very hard. Let's see. Cheetah says 2025 was difficult for many. So Casey on TikTok says, yep, same here. Jane says 2025 was a shit show. And by the way, I'm not saying, like, last year was an amazing year. Both things can be true, can't they? Last year was an amazing year. I have so much to be grateful for. It was an amazing year. But I also got to the end of the year and I was like, God, it felt kind of hard. It felt like the wind was constantly blowing against us. Anyway, my point is, we got to the end of last year and me and Audrey both sat together and we said, one of the things we want to do going into 2026 is bring a different level of positivity. And by the way, I'm not someone who is all about always being positive and endless positive self-talk. I think toxic positivity is a real thing. I am not someone, I don't want friends in my life who every time you have a conversation, it's always, everything's great and always on the bright side and blah, 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 blah. That bores me. I like people with color. I like people who are able to be sad and down and at the same time as being happy and ecstatic. I don't want people who only can speak in positive terms. So I'm not talking about endless positivity or relentless positivity, but we both recognize that the negative voice kind of won a little too many times last year. And it was almost like that muscle became a bit too trained, where we were too used to going to that negative voice when we were talking about things. Again, tell me if you relate to this. So going into this year, I was like, I know that that's true also of so many people who want to find love. So many people who deeply forget dating for a moment. I put up a post this morning that I was like, forget dating. Just ignore that word. I know it's a triggering word for a lot of people. I know it brings up a lot of baggage, a lot of negativity. Forget dating for a moment. Just when you think about this year and how you want to find love, I know that so many of you have that negative voice has crept in, maybe because of hard experiences, breakups, heartbreak, constant disappointment, constant rejection, feeling invisible. That negative voice starts to creep in and it gets louder and louder and louder. And the problem is when that voice gets loud enough, it takes over and now it dictates our life. It dictates our results in love. I read a YouTube comment from what I think it was my most recent video on Sunday. I read a YouTube comment from someone who said, I'm never going to meet someone because I'm unattractive. And I just thought there may be many people who find you unattractive. I don't know this person. I've never seen them, but maybe many people find you unattractive. I know you can find love. I know there's someone out there for you. But what I also know is that mindset, that negativity that made you post a comment that said, I'm never going to meet someone because I'm unattractive, that will be the single biggest reason you don't find love. It won't be because some people find you unattractive. It will be because of that. And so I want us to go into this year with a different kind of energy and defaulting to a more positive voice. Me too. Right? Me too. I felt myself creep too much into negativity last year. So I want us to start to default to that positive voice. And I thought about dating and I thought, how do we do that? How do we do that? And one of the things that's making us continue to default to the negative voice is obsessing over dating, obsessing over finding someone. And obsessing over finding someone this year is actually the easiest way not to find someone. Because when we're obsessing over finding someone, we're in a narrow mindset. We make bad decisions. Those decisions have bad consequences. We go for the wrong people. We come across as insecure and panicked and desperate. And that pushes people away. It doesn't show us in our most attractive, empowered, confident energy. So obsessing over dating this year is not going to be what helps you find love. What I wanted to do with people this month is put together a plan for a year that didn't obsess about dating, but built a lifestyle that attracted love. In other words, something that wasn't about tips and it wasn't about strategies. It was about lifestyle. What would be a way of designing a year that was joyful and fulfilling and happy, that also as a byproduct attracted the right love into my life? And if you want to know what that looks like, and I think this is essential because too many people are burning out on the dating apps trying to find love, I want you to not burn out in this. I want you to enjoy this. This is your life. You're never going to get this year back. We're never going to get this year back. We've got to enjoy it no matter what. But is there a way to enjoy it and build a year, a lifestyle that attracts the right love into your life at the same time? That is what I'm going to be doing with people from all over the world this month, is showing them what that actually looks like. If you want to do this with me, this event is online. It's free, and I'm going to be doing it with people all across the world at the same time, but only this month. If you're on Instagram or Facebook and you want to join me for this event, comment 2026. And if you are anywhere else, TikTok, YouTube, or you just want to go to a website instead, you can go to, what's the link up here, David? It's covered by my timer. mhnewyear.com. You can go to I'm going to write that down for myself, newyear.com. Okay? mhnewyear.com. This is going to be about the deeper values, the kind of processes, the routines, and ways of being that are going to transform our experience of finding love. Okay? This isn't about dating. This is about making it happen. I'm really excited about this. I'm going to get to more questions now, but please join us for this, because once we're through this month, the train will have left the station, and then I'm just going to be on to doing all of this with everyone who's joined. So there's only one shot to join us at the beginning of this journey, and it's this month at what I'm calling the Year of Love event. Not the year of dating, the Year of Love. Because I want you to remember, beneath all of that baggage we have around dating, at the core of it, we haven't lost our desire for love. We may have lost our desire to date. We have not lost our desire for love in our lives. So that's what I want to talk about. I don't want to talk about, endlessly, how to go out there and date. I want to talk about how to invite love into your life. Can't wait. Let's get to some more questions. Let's see what we have in this. Okay, so David's been fielding some questions.
Good ones. I would say maybe just look over those 4 that I just posted. Let's see which one.
All right. Let's see. Isabella says, tell me one successful rule for a good relationship. Stay connected to what is amazing about your partner. I think that there are always going to be, it's funny, there's another question here, right, from somebody, Erica, who says, what should I do if I love my 17-year husband, but my attraction is for other man, I guess another man or other men, I'm not sure, but in any long-term relationship, the challenge and the opportunity is to stay connected to what's amazing about the person we're with. And that's not easy. And by the way, sometimes people don't make it easy. There's a personal accountability part to this, but there's also a shared accountability. If you're with someone who always makes it incredibly hard to stay connected to why you chose them in the first place, why they're amazing, why they're someone you are so grateful to build a life with, that's really hard, and that ends up being a conversation you need to have. So Erica, I don't know if the challenge for you right now is that the attraction piece is missing, partly because you're not staying connected to what is attractive about your husband, and partly because your husband isn't staying committed to the things that he needs to do to make it easier for you to find him attractive. I think there's always we always have to look at ourselves in a relationship and say, am I doing the things that enable my partner to remain attracted to me? I have Audrey in my mind when I work out. I work out for me, but I also work out because I want Audrey to as much as possible continue to see me physically and say, I'm into this man. I'm attracted to this man. That's in my mind when I'm working out or taking care of myself. That's in my mind when I'm like eating badly for weeks on end, which I did for about 6 weeks, from the 2 weeks before my son was born until 3 days ago. I have it in my mind that I can't continue doing this because it's important to me that I stay attractive for my partner. to me, that's important. It's a personal, that to me is part of my personal commitment to the relationship. So there are lots of ways that we stay committed to staying attractive for our partner. And if we feel like our partner isn't doing that, then that's albeit a compassionate conversation and a kind conversation. It's a conversation. But we also have to work at staying connected to why our partner is attractive and why we chose them and why we think they're special. Because if we do that, it won't matter if someone better walks into the room in terms of like facial structure or symmetry or, a different kind of body. Your partner can't have every body. And there's not one type of sexy body, is there? There's multiple types of sexy body. There's multiple sexy skin colors. There's multiple sexy heights. There's multiple sexy personalities. There's so many different gorgeous people on this planet. But what happens is we build a life with someone and we get really connected to what is special about our partner, and we work at staying connected to that. And then, for those of you, even, for the Matt who asked the question about like, I'm in early dating and we're going slow, but I'm scared to lose them. I'm getting nervous. Recognize that you don't have to be the best person in town on every metric. You just have to be the best person for this person. I asked David a question at the beginning. Like, I walked in the room. I had no idea that his answer was going to give me a thought, but I walked into the room and David is like a coffee snob. I'm a coffee snob. We both like our coffee. And I asked him, David, what's the best coffee in LA, which is where we live? And he said, my answer is going to be really weird, because I thought he was going to tell me like the most exquisite coffee shop in town that, obsessed over the beans they ground and where they sourced them from and their process and blah, 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 blah. He said, my answer is going to trip you out. He said, I went to an acting class where every day this pot of very average coffee was brewed by the acting teacher. And it was probably like half Folgers and half hazelnut something or other. He said, but there was something about the way he made this coffee that every day it was the same. And I came to really love it. And I came to really look forward to it. And he said it was just like nothing more than diner coffee, but there was something about this coffee. And I laughed because I was like, there's so much to learn from that. David loves amazing coffee. David literally brought me a present this morning, having not really seen each other since the Christmas holidays. He came and brought me a bag of really great coffee that he got for me. This is a guy who really likes great coffee and appreciates great coffee. When I asked him what his favorite coffee was, it was the diner coffee. There's a combination of hazelnut and Folgers that his acting coach made every morning. That will tell you everything you need to know about relationships and why you should feel safe and secure in the right relationship. Because if it's the right relationship, you love this person, regardless of whether someone more attractive could walk in the room tomorrow, regardless of whether someone scores more highly on wit or intelligence or whatever. There is something about this. There's something about that coffee. It wasn't the most expensive coffee in town, but there was something about that coffee. There's something about this person. And when you realize that you can, part of what makes you the best coffee in town is the attitude you bring, is you have to present as someone who understands that there is something really special about you. You don't think you're the best. Fuck saying I'm the best. I'm the best has a word. It's called narcissism. Right? It's not I'm the best. It's I know I'm special. I know I have something special to bring for the right person. And if I connect to that, someone else is going to connect to that. And I might just convince them. So I'm loving this live already. I'm excited to answer more questions. Leave me a comment letting me know if that resonated with you. Album says yes, wit also. Brainwashed by rom-coms. There's something about that coffee. What a great analogy. Like, it's going to become like our new phrase. There's something about that coffee. We got to do like a little video on that. There's something there. That was David. All right, let's read some of the comments in here.
Joanne seems to be having a rough go at it. I appreciate
Oh, where's Joanne?
the second comment from the bottom.
On which, she's in the, okay, hang on. Okay, so Joanne says, worst year ever. Divorce, foreclosure, alienation from my son. I'm broke. At 74 years old, I need to move forward. And where do I begin? So, look, there's, firstly, an age always ends up becoming part of the story, doesn't it? If you hear that, there's a lot of story there. You know, divorce. Firstly, there's also a shopping list of negative things. Not saying any of them aren't negative. That, you know, there's obviously a lot of pain involved in those things. Divorce, foreclosure, alienation from my son, I'm broke. There's a lot of pain in that list. But it's also a shopping list of painful things that have all been grouped together. And most of us, I think, in life can take a whole bunch of different components of our life that have been difficult or are difficult right now and group them into a very dire shopping list of painful situations. So I would say there's other things that you haven't put in that list that are very positive in your life. Right? There will be other things. I don't need to know you to know that there are things. And then the 74 years old, it's like someone, you know, saying well, in a sense, you've said it, right? When someone says, I'm financially in a really bad position and I'm this age, the age plays a huge part in that story. But I like to think that all of us, if we detach from the story that surrounds it, and of course the story contains a whole lot of like, and it's my fault, and I did this, and I did that to get myself, and I chose the wrong partner, which is why I'm divorced in the first place, and I made poor financial decisions, which is why I'm broke, and whatever. Like, there's all sorts of shame and self-reprimanding that goes hand in hand with these stories about how hard and bad life is. But if you want to say, how and where do I begin? You begin, Oliver Burkeman in his book, Meditation for Mortals, he refers to another person saying that there's a certain point in life where you realize that your dreams have not come true in the way that you thought, and that life didn't turn out the way that you thought, and that your carefully produced plan of how life would go did not come to pass. And then you find yourself in the mess, in the rubble of your life. But once you accept that place, once you accept just where you are, and by the way, that there are 1,000 different ways for a life to take a turn in a difficult direction. Yours has taken a turn in a difficult direction in a couple of ways, but there are many other ways that your life could have taken a turn in a really difficult direction. You know, what you don't have, Joanne, is a monopoly on all of the ways life could have been hard. It's hard in some ways, and there are other ways it could have been impossibly difficult that you haven't experienced. So in any life, things can go wrong, things don't go to plan, and we find ourselves in the rubble. But when we accept that fact about life, we're free to what he calls play in the rubble. And playing in the rubble in some ways is much more fun, because instead of going, I just always thought my life would be like this, and I just always thought that this would happen for me, instead of all of that, or that attachment to these ideas of the way life should have been, we just look at the rubble of our lives and we say, what could I find here? What could be created from this rubble? What joy could be found in this rubble? If you remove all of that baggage of thought, then you're just another person in this world with potentially lots of time left on the clock. None of us know how much we have. A 34-year-old doesn't know if they have 6 more months. A 74-year-old doesn't know if they have 16 more years. We don't know, or more. What we do know is that you're still a person who's here, like the rest of us, playing in the rubble. And so when you say to me, how and where do I begin? I say exactly where you are. You know, what's the next, as Anna, I think, puts it, or it's either Anna or Elsa in Frozen 2, you know, you do the next right thing. What's the next right thing that you could do? Is it send a letter to your son? Is it make one sensible financial move from where you stand right now, even if it's a tiny one? You know, is it to connect with a support group in some way? What's the next right thing that you could do? And I wish you luck. And I hope that, you know, we can spend more of the journey together this year. And I feel your pain, and I'm sorry that you're going through such a hard time, but I also would love you to focus on how many of the stories that could still happen in your life haven't started yet or are about to start right now. Sarah Williams says, I love that you just quoted Frozen. Yeah, you didn't see a Frozen quote coming today, did you? All right, what else do we have? Could you, if you're on Instagram or Facebook, comment 2026 and join me for the Year of Love event that I am doing this January, this month, or go to mhnewyear.com, that link above me right there. This is going to be an amazing event. It's, you know, we're going to talk about how to design our year in a way that brings joy, meaning, peace, Joanne, but also as a byproduct of creating an amazing year and an amazing lifestyle this year, an amazing way of being, is also going to attract the right love into your life. So I don't care how tired you are of dating or how over the process you are, forget the process, forget dating. If you know deep down that love is something that you don't want to give up on, you may want to give up on dating, but I don't want to give up on love because it's too important to me. And then come and join me for this event this month, because we're going to talk about the wider context of 2026, how to make it an amazing year and how to do the right things when it comes to your love life. And by the spoiler alert, in many ways, for those of you who have been trying really, really hard and gritting your teeth trying to find love, it's actually going to be less effort, not more. Right? There's, you know, like, you ever played a sport where a coach has told you you're doing too much? Hey, you're like a tennis coach or whatever, like you're trying to do too much with your swing. Whenever you've been told in your life less is more, or you need to do less, not more, that's what I'm going to be talking about this year. But what we are going to be doing is the right things. It's going to be fun. I can't wait. Join us for the Year of Love at mhnewyear.com, or comment if you're on Instagram or Facebook, 2026. All right, maybe we got time for one more. Let's see. Let's see. On TikTok, Myra says, how do I break out into dating after being nearly 5 years celibate? I'm 35 now, and I do feel complete. Well, I think that there's a story there already about breaking out into dating. Like there's some sort of like cocoon that you're in with a very hard shell that you're trying to break out into so that you can now exist in the world of other people dating. You already exist in that world. And if you are in a place now where you're open to what could be, then you will naturally and can naturally start to take little steps to show that openness. And that might be very simple things. It might be that when you go into a coffee shop, you don't look at your phone. You know, maybe you give yourself a little mission that I'm going to keep my phone in my pocket because I know that my phone is a crutch that is going to make me lose myself in my screen as a comfort, because socially it's a bit scary to be in the room with everybody else. So I'm going to have a mission. My phone doesn't come out of my pocket until I leave this coffee shop. And then you sit there and you just enjoy the people around you. Maybe you have a little moment with someone next to you, say hi, ask them what what that drink is that you never normally get, but it looks interesting. You just have little moments with people. And if you do this in more contexts in your life, from the coffee shop to the gym to potentially even the grocery store to, it could be being, if you want to join the apps, it could be being on the apps. But all these little ways you're signaling to the world, I am open to possibility. In those years where you were celibate, you were closed to possibility. There was probably an energy you gave off, of a kind of absence of easy communication with people, or inviting communication with people, or even inviting a certain kind of energy, like a flirtatious energy. Now is a chance to start to, instead of thinking I need to do a whole bunch of things to hit on other people, I would start thinking I've been a red light for people for the last 5 years. I now need to be a green light for people. What does it look like for me to be a green light for people? What does that look like? If I want to be a green light for people, what does that look like? How might I approach people? If I wanted them to know that they could approach me, if I wanted them to know that I was open to flirting or to having a fun moment, what would that look like? And what you'll focus on, instead of focusing on going on the attack, you'll focus on how you can be someone who lives as an invitation to other people. And that's a really powerful way to live, as an invitation, living as an invitation, because then you never know what's going to happen. All right, very good. Let's see. Abby on TikTok says, so now we are traffic lights. I think you may have taken the metaphor a little too literally, Abby. All right, let's see. Is there a way, David, for me to scroll across to Instagram and TikTok, or no?
Go the opposite way.
Oh, I'll go the opposite way. Okay. All right, very good. So, if you want to join me for the Year of Love event, if you're on Instagram or Facebook, comment the word 2026. If you are anywhere else, go to MH Year of Love. Let's throw that up there, David. mhyearoflove.com. That link that is about to appear above me. mhnewyear.com, not MH Year of Love. mhnewyear.com is that link above me. If you're on Instagram or Facebook, comment 2026. And we're going to have an amazing event together this month. I can't stress this enough. I'm not doing this again later in the year. This is an event that I am doing to kick off the year for anyone who's serious about really like lifestyle design in 2026. Again, this isn't about tips. It's not about just strategies for mindless dating. This is about lifestyle. This is about looking at your 2026 and saying, I want to make this an amazing year. I want to bring more joy into my life. I want to bring more fun into my life. I want to bring more meaning into my life. I want to bring more opportunity into my life. And I want to create a life that by design invites more of the right energy, the right people, the right love into it. Because I promise you, if you do that, you'll be a magnet for the kind of love you're looking for. And if you picture yourself 5 years from today and you're like, where do I want to be 5 years from today? Well, alongside all of the other amazing things in my life, my friends, my family, the things I love doing with my time, my career, whatever it may be, I want to have this incredible teammate in my life. You know, I want to have that person who I look back and I say, God, every shitty date I ever had, every bit of nonsense I ever dealt with on a dating app or whatever was worth it for me to get to a place in my life where I had this kind of human being, this kind of love. So if you want your year to be about love, not about dating, and you want to invite in the right kind of love, come join me on this event. It's going to be great. I can't wait. And if you've got single friends, I hear Shanti Nia says, I have a partner. Shanti Nia, if you have friends, family, doesn't matter whether they're men or women, it doesn't matter. This is for everybody. But if you have people you know in your life that could really use this, please forward it on to them. The link is mhnewyear.com. Forward that link on to them because it's really going to help them. And if, it's a very loving thing that you could do for them to get them to come along and be part of this. It's going to help their mindset. It's going to help them design an amazing year. And by the way, it might even help you too. Even though you have a partner, there are going to be some things in here that people are going to really enjoy regardless of their relationship status. Because who doesn't want to design an amazing year for 2026? I will see you soon. Thank you so much for being here. No chaotic baddie. This is not AI. This is the real Matthew Hussey. But yeah,
I tried to put plants in the background. And
you tried.
I don't know. For some reason, I think more of a background.
We need more of a background. It's too white behind me. Yeah.
I tried to put some plants.
It looks like sort of I'm in this weird liminal AI nothing space.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we'll we'll put some more plants and books in the background next time. All right, guys. Much love. I'll see you soon. And I'll see you on the Year of Love this month. All right. It's happening in just around 2 weeks' time. So go check it out. You'll find all of the details at mhnewyear.com. And I'll catch you there. Thanks, everyone. Have a great day.